I come from New York, and New York is a big city. Architecture, it's a lot of straight lines, boxes and squares and rectangles. And then I also have a background in graffiti. In Japan, you know, not everyone, but basically everyone is Japanese. Whereas in New York, everybody is really different. And that's, for New York, that's like very, very unique. If you're American, or if you're a New Yorker, that doesn't exist. You're just, you know, you're just a citizen. You can be from anywhere and be an American or be a New Yorker. And I think then, this is really the difference between the US and a lot of places. I wanted to make something that was opposite of that, something that feels more organic, something that feels a little more chaotic and a little more loose. I think Shinagawa is many office worker is coming here and everyone is going to lunch at the same time and everyone is coming back to work. So we have the same, and that was the vibe I got. Even the train station and the construction that I could see outside is very like straight lines, grid. I just wanted a contrast to that. So when I started, I also was making rectangle, and then I kind of went away from that and just made it more, you know, not geometric and a little more like nature, organic kind of feeling. I try to control the paint, but I also, it goes where it goes. Everything else in the office has its place. I wanted to have something that felt its way that it flowed, its way that it went. This is a really long rectangle, and so I wanted to break it up a little bit. So it's almost like each line, it feels like its own part. I like some to not go all the way, and some to go all the way down. And this becomes maybe a little more graphic and a little harder, a little more open, maybe a little less graphic. And then the underpainting also makes it a little less hard and a little less graphic. And as you get closer, you can see a lot of underpainting and layering, which I like. And then also, not that everything goes back to the street. In the street, there's a lot of layering. Someone else comes and paints something, they paint over it. Sometimes they do a good job painting over it, sometimes it's sloppy. They don't paint, they just paint a square, or they don't paint all the way to the bottom, so I like that. In New York, when you have a construction site, it's really common that they build a temporary wall, and the temporary wall is blue. People come and they put wheat paste, or they write graffiti, and then they come and they paint over it, and then they do it again with graffiti and wheat paste. And so this is a construction company as well, right? So it's part also feeling nature and sky and water, but it's also kind of has that urban construction wall history to it, as well as the way it's been painted. I purposefully don't even bother to paint it all the way to the bottom, or I do kind of a lazy job of painting it, because that's, I like that. I like that layering. One, I like to have some layering, and I like to have some underpainting. I like that you can see that something else was underneath. So I like that. I like layers, and it's not perfectly finished really anywhere, right? It's not perfectly finished in the background. You know, you can't always make something in just one go. That's very difficult, and sometimes I'm asked to paint things, and maybe it's a different size that I'm not used to, or a different shape, and then you only have one chance. It's a lot of pressure. But lately I've been making more. I like to just put paint on, paint over it, put paint on, paint over it, and just start to have more paint, more layers. And then also, I think for this space and for this project specifically, for this shape, which is quite long but kind of short, I really had to feel the space, feel what was gonna work, you know, and what I was gonna be happy with. So I also have to try. It's not something that you just do it in one go. I think that It's my understanding they want, to have this as an artwork that people can look at and be a part of the office and not a background. I think it's nice that they also had the vision to bring in some artwork and some painting into their office. That's a nice vision for their workplace and for the workers.